Hello students, in the previous lecture we have taken iterative statements in Java in which we discuss what are iterative statements, those we call as the loops, what are different types of the loops, and among different types we have taken for loop and discuss the for loop thoroughly and take the examples of the for loop as well. Now in today's lecture we are going to discuss the while loop. While loop does the same thing as that of for loop. But the difference here is that within the for loop, we have three sections. One we call as an initialization section, second we call as a condition section, and third one we call as an increment or decrement. And then we have a block of statements embedded within these two braces. But when we come to the for loop here the initialization is one of the block, condition is one of the block, and increment or decrement. When we come to the syntax of for loop is like this: while, then condition, then statements. And as you can see the difference between your for loop and your while. There is only one section that we call as a condition section. While as in for loop there are three sections: the initialization section, the condition section, and the increment and decrement. Here it's the responsibility of Here, it's the responsibility of the programmer that he needs to mention or he needs to initialize the variable and he needs to increment or decrement. It's not within the structure of the loop. While as it's the duty of the programmer to embed these two things within your for. For example, if we write down a for loop, we need to write down first the counter variable, then while say I less than 10, then some statements, then it's a programmer's duty to add I plus plus here. It's not within the structure of the loop, while loop of your programming. This is one of the main difference. Otherwise, the loops, that for loop and while loop does the same thing as that of your while loop, which we are going to do with the while loop that can be done with the for loop, or that which we are to do, which we have done for with the help of the for loop, that can be done also with the help of while loop. Let us take a real implementation example of your for loop. Let's go. Let's create one more file by the name of for loop. Sorry, while loop. So by this way, we created a while loop class. So let's first add public static void main. Now we need to check whether a number is prime or not with the help of the while. So in order to do the same, what let's assume that flag at initial level is equivalent to 0. What we are using? We are using a counter variable I starts from 2, because within the for loop we use it to say that I will start from 2 because 1 and number itself is omitted from the factors that should be divided or that should not be divided to a particular number. and based upon the division, whether they should divide, whether they divide or whether it doesn't divide the number, it shows us that whether a number is prime or not. So we will say that while I less than num, that means I should be less than or equal less than num, less than the number num. So what we are going to check, we check if num percent I is equivalent to 0. If that particular I is going to divide our number value of our number, we say that flag should be equivalent to 1. Change the flag and break. And after, if it is not, then increment it by 1. And after while loop is over, we will check if flag is equivalent to 0. That means flag has not been changed. We say that system.out.println number is prime. Is it? If it is divisible by, that means flag has been changed, then else system.out.println number is not a prime. Then we are going to run this particular file. Enter the number, say 7. It says me prime, or again run this particular, enter the value for n. We'll say for example 13, it's a prime number. Again enter 9, it's not a prime number. So we have seen that same program was done before with the help of the for loop, and it gets the same result. While as in this program, in this lecture, we have seen that we are using while loop for the same program and it does the same thing. The only thing is it differ in the syntaxes and it differ in the behavior, where to put increment section, where to put initialization section. It differ only in that particular. Otherwise, it is same as that of your for loop, what you have discussed earlier. Hope that you understand the concept of while loop. So the next topic that we are going to discuss today is the do while loop. It is do while. What do while is? The main syntax of your do while is, it says that do, then after braces, then after statements, then brace close, then while condition semicolon. This is the general syntax of our do while. The main difference between while and do while is if upon a false condition at its initial stage, still the statements will get invoked at once. मकसद क्या हुआ? while और do while में फर्क क्या है कि अगर पहली बार जब भी हम लूप के अंदर जाते हैं, अगर उसी टाइम पर भी कंडीशन फॉल्स होगी, तब भी हमारे पास एक एक दफा जो भी स्टेटमेंट होगा वो एग्जीक्यूट होगा। मैं एक एग्जांपल बता रहा हूं। फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे पास एक ऐसे ऐसे एक स्टेटमेंट है, सिस्टम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंट एल and I am telling hello like this, and I'm using while 10 greater than 20. As you can see, 10 is not greater than 20, but still it will print once hello. Similarly, the case if it would have been uh, on the while side, simple while, if 10 greater than 20, same system dot out dot print system dot out dot print, and then this will never print anything, because at the initial level the condition is becoming false and it will not enter into this particular block. However, do executes the instructions first and then after condition is going to be checked. Let's take example of do while as well. Say let's make one more class, do while example, and finish. Do while example, let's write down public static void main. Let's say int n is equivalent to 10. We will write down do system dot out dot print welcome, and we are saying that while n should be less n should be greater than 20. Let us run this particular first. Let's see what will happen. It says that 10 should be greater than 40, 20, but condition is false, still it will execute. If the same program would have been run with the help of while loop, let's comment it, same program, while n greater than 20, system dot out dot print welcome. So let's run. It will not show anything because it will never come inside of the for loop, because condition is false. It will never come inside of the for loop and execute, while as do statements get executed first and then after condition is going to be checked. Hope that you have now a sound idea what is for loop, how it can be used, what is for loop, how it can be used, what is do while loop, and how it can be used, what are difference between your while loop and do while. There is one more concept within your loops, we call them as a nested loops. Nested loops or loop within the loop. Loop within the loop means a loop, for example, like this for, and we have another for which are inside this particular for. This So what we call as a loop within a loop. एक लूप के अंदर और एक लूप, उसको बताते हैं हम nested loops. But you need to remember one thing here. Loop within a loop में एक चीज बहुत जरूरी याद रखनी है. The outer loop will run once and the inner loop will execute wholly or fully. इसका मकसद क्या हुआ? फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूं. हमारे पास ऐसे लूप है. फॉर I will be equivalent to 1, I less than 3, I plus plus. और उसके अंदर और एक लूप है मेरा पास. फॉर j will be equivalent to 0, j less than 3 and j plus plus. These are some statements. If we have a code like this, what here means, this within the for loop initialization section will be invoked once. That's the first line at the entry point of your for loop. After that, initialization never invokes. What it says, I less than 3. That means 1 less than 3. Condition is true, it will come inside of the loop. Here it encounters another loop. That means for j equivalent to 0, 0 less than 3, condition is true, j plus plus and statement is executed. Instead of going again to the for loop of the outer, that is I, it increments first j. That means unless and until this condition will become false, it will not come out of this inner loop. When condition of the inner loop will become false, then after it will come out of the inner loop and executes I plus plus. This one I plus plus. That means that's why I have the outer loop will run once and the inner loop will execute fully. That means एक iteration पे ये full iteration करेगा, दूसरे iteration पर भी ये full iteration करेगा, तीसरे पर भी ये full iteration करेगा. That means if it has an n, it has n cross n iterations. और अगर इसके पास एक इटरेशन है, इसके पास 3 इटरेशन, दैट मींस एक आउटर एक इटरेशन पे इनर की 3 इटरेशन हो जाती है, उसके बाद इसके ऊपर इसकी 3 इटरेशन हो जाती है, इसके ऊपर इसकी 3 इटरेशन हो जाती है. दैट मींस अगर 3 बाहर हो रही है तो अंदर 9 इटरेशंस हो रही है, क्योंकि जब भी हम अंदर एनकाउंटर करते हैं तो j नए सिरे से स्टार्ट होता है फ्रॉम द इनिशियल j इक्वल टू 0. Let's take an example. It is depicted like this. Star 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 star. This is the pattern which we want to draw, and this can be drawn with the help of the nested loops. One will be there will be two loops which will give us the pattern of this kind. One will be applicable to handle the columns and another will be responsible for looking up for. Let us take live demonstration of this particular thing. Say int I comma j comma n. What we use? We use the scanner classes. Scanner SC equivalent to new scanner system dot will use system enter how many rows. हम यूजर को बताएंगे कि कितने रोज के लिए हमें जाना है, क्योंकि हमें जितने रोज होते हैं उतने स्टार्स भी, 1 रो 1 स्टार, 2 रोज 2 स्टार्स, 3 रोज 3 स्टार्स, 4 रोज 4 स्टार्स। तो इसीलिए हमने बताया कि कितनी रोज तक हमें जाना है। तो हम क्या करेंगे, एन विल बी इक्वल टू एस सी डॉट नेक्स्ट इंट। तो हमने ले लिया। उसके बाद हम क्या करेंगे, हम ऐसे लिखेंगे फॉर, या ऐसे लिखेंगे सिस्टम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंट द पैटर्न इज एज अंडर। हम लिखेंगे ऐसे फॉर आई विल बी इक्वल टू 1, आई लेस देन सेमीकोलन, आई लेस देन n एंड आई प्लस प्लस। ये हमें क्या करके देगा, ये हमें रोज कैलकुलेट करके, दैट मीन्स पहले एक रो चलेगा, फिर उसके बाद दूसरा रो चलेगा, फिर उसके बाद तीसरा रो चलेगा। बट हमें एक रो में एक स्टार प्रिंट करना है, तो उसके लिए ये वाला लूप कितने कॉलम्स हमें प्रिंट करने हैं। हम फॉर j इक्वल टू 1 करते हैं, j लेस देन आर इक्वल टू i, क्योंकि i तक ही जाना है हमें, एक रो पे एक स्टार ही चाहिए, उसके बाद j प्लस प्लस, और हम करते हैं ऐसे सिस्टम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंट एल स्टार स्पेस स्पेस। उसके बाद ऐसे करेंगे, इसको एक ब्रेस देंगे। उसके बाद जब ये खत्म होगा तो नए लाइन पे आना है, तो हम करेंगे सिस्टम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंट। तो प्रिंट एल हुआ, दैट मीन्स नेक्स्ट लाइन पे प्रिंट करेगा, एंड वी आर गोइंग टू एग्जिट। लेट अस रन दिस पर्टिकुलर, enter how many rows, say 5, 1 1 2, okay, print ln, we don't have to use print ln, we have to use the print here, 5. This is what we got it from the patterns. फर्स्ट रो में फर्स्ट पैटर्न, सेकंड रो में सेकंड, दो, थर्ड रो में थर्ड। होप दैट कि आपको समझ आया होगा कि नेस्टेड लूप्स होते क्या है और नेस्टेड लूप्स काम कैसे करते। I'm going to show more examples on nested loops, but not here when we come to the array part of our program. Thank you for watching this video.